Hi, my Lightlings. I'm not outside today or in my car. I thought I would just do everything in my special place that I have. Welcome. For anybody who doesn't know, my name is Beth. I am a funeral director. And sorry, I'm kind of new at this video thing, so if I keep looking in the wrong place, yeah, let's just face it, I'm not good at taking pictures anyway, so I'm probably going to be looking in the wrong place the whole time. So just bear with me. I'm not reading notes. I'm 100% just off the cuff right now. And I am a licensed funeral director. I did leave the business for a little bit, mostly because of the cost of things, and that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I just wanted to I'm working into starting my own business, starting to do like grief, not counseling really, but more coaching, kind of like the after effects. I found as a funeral director quite often at the end of everything, I've taken the money, I've given the death certificates, and the families are like, oh, you were so great, you're so wonderful. I guess I'm never seeing you again. And, well, I mean, I live in town. I mean, I'll see you at the grocery store. They're like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, goodbye. Or the families are like, well, what do we do now? And so I kind of wanted to start this video series, or whatever you want to call it, channel, I'm not sure, just to kind of guide people through grief after the funeral home, after the funeral's over, after everything's said and done, everything's gone, everybody's left, and now you're stuck there and you have to deal with it, which that's the part that sucks. I have been through a lot of loss. I'm not bragging about it or anything, but I did start losing very young. Of course, my parents, brothers and sisters passed away. I wasn't terribly close to them, but I was, close enough to understand they weren't coming back, and I wasn't going to get to, talk to them anymore. At least in the sense of a physical being. But I kind of wanted to touch base on being a teenager and kind of give you guys my kind of story of what I went through and how it wasn't easy. And adolescence is already hard. We're already struggling with things. We're already, trying to figure out who we are, separate from our parents and our family, be our little own individuals. We're trying to fit in with the crowd, but trying to find out who we are, and it's already a hot mess. So take a freshman in high school, a 14-year-old, and throw in the mix of a traumatic death of a sister, and then you're kind of like, oh, well, what do I do? So I'm not going to get into details about what happened, but my sister did die tragically when I was 14. It was in the news. It was a big deal. And at the time, I had just lost my sister. I didn't know. I didn't think anything of it. Come home from school one day, and then all these people are at my house. I don't know what's really going on. Find out my sister passed away, and I was very upset. Of course, I was crying. I'm a very light-hearted person, so I make jokes of everything, which isn't always appropriate, and it's not always right. But it's what I feel, and sometimes in the moment of things, you say the wrong things. So, of course, I'm still in school. I only have about a month left to finish. I'm doing great, straight A's, everything. I come home to this tragedy, and, I can't go to school now, and I can't finish, fully finish this semester. And I'm going to have to make up all this work. So I was, just trying to make light of it, like, oh, good, I don't have to go to school, And my other sister was like, oh, she just doesn't understand because she's a kid. And I was very kind of thrown back by that. Like, I do understand. I understand what happened. I understand what a tragedy this is. And I understand why I'm missing 2 weeks of school. But I still have that childness about me where I'm still naive and I don't know how to react to it. And I really wasn't given guidance. I was just thrown in the mix like everybody else is. And, to be insulted, which it's not a big deal. It really wasn't an insult. It was just, she was upset too. Everybody was upset. Anyway, but, moving forward, fast forwarding, we go down to where she passed away. We have a funeral down there. Absolutely beautiful funeral from an adolescent's perspective. Looking at her in the casket, that wasn't her. That was not my sister. There was no life to her. I knew that. I understood that it was a vessel. I didn't understand why they chose the clothes that they chose for her. I didn't really have input, but again, I was just 14. She left behind 2 small children that my parents ended up taking home, and they stayed with us for a year until their dad was able to get everything in order, so that way he could bring them back home. It wasn't anything bad. It was just, it was a tragedy. It's what happens, and things are crazy, hectic. You don't know what to do. So, why don't, let's take some of that off of you. So that's an example of something that I learned when I was young. My parents did the grieving thing, and even though they were grieving their daughter, they still took some of the responsibility off of her husband because it was just too much for him. And it was a lot for the kids too, but they were much younger than me, so they didn't quite understand what was going on. So, my parents did that, and I'm going to try. I don't want to do too much on this because I don't want it to be too long, because I don't want to talk about myself. I don't like doing that. But, so, as an adolescent, I'm down at a funeral home I've never been, a place that I've barely gone to, maybe once a year. And, don't know any of these people. People are saying they're sorry. People are asking who I am. My brother and I were kind of in the hallway of the funeral home, I guess, we're talking about funny stories and laughing and kind of having a good time. And we were off by ourselves, and it wasn't really a big deal to me. But one of the funeral people came up to us and told us we weren't allowed to laugh. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. So my brother and I were like, well, we're just telling funny stories. And they said, well, it's rude. It's very rude to be laughing when other people are crying. And so we just kind of left it at that. And we went outside, and we were laughing and telling funny stories outside. So, that's one faux pas that happened in the funeral industry. Listen, if you have to laugh and you need to crack jokes, you do what you got to do to get through it. There's no rules. There's no rules. Who told this person that that's a rule? Especially because they didn't even know that I was the sister, that was the brother, that we were the siblings. They didn't know that. And when they found out, they came and apologized. Oh, we didn't know who you were. Oh, so it's okay for you to go up to random strangers and tell them how to behave properly at a funeral when you don't even know how to behave. You just are sitting there solemnly. You're supposed to be opening the door and telling people to sign a book. You're not supposed to be telling people how to feel or how to react. I've seen them all. I won't get into all of that. But that was a moment that was just unnecessary. And I wish that more people understood that grief is not something that you have to do a certain way, especially when there's children involved. It's not easy, but you got to find your own way to get through it. And yeah, you could take advice from other people and, try different things out and stuff. But I don't really think that there's anything specific that, oh my God, you have to do it this way. You should be standing there crying and being sad because, you've only been here for 8 hours. when this happened, funerals were long. Now they're much shorter. So now it's like compacted and hurry up and get it done so we don't have to worry about it anymore. Which I think that's a little sad too, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, it does make sense. So we come up to have another funeral up where I grew up, and we had a funeral there, and she was buried there. And, you know, of course my friends came, and some of them couldn't come because, you know, again, we're 14 years old. Friends are having weird reactions to medication and dying. Friends of ours are getting cancer and sick, and other ones are having like physical ailments that they didn't even know existed. And so if you know, a couple friends of mine weren't able to go, but their parents did come by, and they said, hey, I just want to let you know that, you know, they're thinking of you. Whew, I might cry. But they couldn't make it today because of this. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I felt so horrible that somebody our age had gone through, had passed away too. It was really bad. And so I was like, you know, of course I'm forgiving. But after everything's said and done, of course, everybody goes home, and then, you know, you're just kind of there, and you just have to live. So you're living every day, going back to school. I had missed so much school that I couldn't catch up. I couldn't, you know, I didn't think that, oh, I should be doing my homework instead of sitting at a funeral for 8 hours. And they were long funerals. They weren't, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. So yeah, they were very long funerals. It's welcoming to have the shorter 1-day funerals instead of the 2 or 3 day funerals. Those are a lot on people. It's a lot of grieving. I'll get into that in another episode. Anyway, so, you know, here I'm did not do well. My friend and I carpooled to school. My dad would pick her up in the morning. Her mom would drop me off in the afternoon. And one day school wasn't even over. She just turned and she called me and she said, I'm sorry, I can't drop you off anymore. My mom doesn't want to. And I didn't understand why. And I come to find out that it was because she didn't want to deal with the uncomfortableness of having someone in the car that just lost somebody tragically. That was horrible. That was absolutely the ultimate Karen thing to fucking do. Thank you for that. I appreciate it very much because it traumatized me. So now not only have I been traumatized because I lost my sister tragically, I'm a teenager, I'm already traumatized, and now I've been traumatized by my best friend because she just didn't want to deal with it. So anyway, my sophomore year, I failed out. I didn't do very well. I didn't care. Why should I care? Everybody's just going to ignore me. Everybody's just going to pass me by. So boom, I just, you know, hung out with who I hung out with. And luckily, the school that I went to, because I was Catholic, I did go to a private school. They offered a group called Rainbows Group, I think it was called. And it was for children or adolescents like me who had lost somebody and who needed to talk to people. So it was amazing. I didn't know things like that existed, and I'm so super grateful that they were there. So thank you. If you all know who you are. I'm going to get all emotional, guys. But anyway, so they walked us through things. I mean, we talked about the Kubler-Ross steps of grief. We talked about what each of us went through, what our feelings were, and we got it out. We got it all, dished it all out on the table. And most of us didn't leave a lot behind. Some of us did. But, you know, we worked together. And so I was a part of that group for probably the rest of my high school career. But I would have to say maybe about a year later, after my sister passed away, I had a friend who lost her brother in a tragic incident as well. Not quite as tragic, but as it comes with grief, tragedy doesn't have levels. It's all tragic. So I felt bad. And this is the best friend that told me she couldn't be my friend, basically, because I had lost my sister, and wouldn't talk to me. She ignored me my whole sophomore year, and then junior year comes along, or the end of sophomore year, I can't remember exactly, but her brother had passed, and I went ahead and took the advice of some of the teachers that knew us and my mom, and I said, listen, I have to work anyway. My mom said, I'll tell you what, I'll go with you. We'll go together. Just go to the funeral. Just make your presence known. Just give your condolences and leave. So I went, and she hugged me harder than she'd ever hugged anybody in her life. And she said, if anybody that I wanted to come, I wanted you to be here. Oh, why? So you could, tell me what your problems were, and I couldn't tell you mine. Like I felt really, I can't think of the word. I was hurt. So it wasn't fun. But we became friends again, and we were best friends again. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I, didn't burn that bridge, or whatever the saying is. I'm glad that things worked out. But, we're not really friends today, but, as life happens, you grow up, you move on, you move out of state, you move in different directions. Like I went a way different direction than she did. So, and it's okay. And I'm not upset about that, but just kind of my feelings as I was going through all of this were very like, it's my fault. Did I do something wrong? Am I gonna end up dying tragically? I was paranoid, worried. Oh, is somebody gonna come and hurt me now? I was, I couldn't trust anybody, like when they wanted to be my friend. Oh, well, when are you gonna, cop out on me? When are you gonna leave me? I had a lot of PTSD from it. And I just say my story because looking back and seeing the adolescents at funerals and things like that, they're getting their love. I got my love. I got hugs. I got loved. It was just the after. What do you do now? How do you handle those feelings? Like you've lost something and you don't know, and your life completely flips and changes, and you don't even know what to do. And you don't know where to turn. Had I not had that Rainbows group, I probably would have not been very well. I had these wonderful friends in the counselor that was in charge of it, Mr. O'Brien. He was amazing. And, we cried, we laughed, and we talked about things. And I think had I not had that, I wouldn't have known where to turn. My parents wouldn't have even thought about it, because I probably wouldn't have asked them. As an adolescent, I would have been like, oh, well, I'll deal with it myself because you guys have your own stuff you're dealing with. I didn't want to burden my parents with my issues. So, gosh, I'm so sorry if this is boring. I don't like telling my stories, so I should have made it more fun, with like pictures or cats or something running around in the background. But it really is a tragedy that we kind of don't make sure that adolescents are okay afterwards. Yes, we're going to seem okay. Yes, we're going to say we're okay. But actually being okay, probably not. I mean, we can feel other people, and we can sense when, I'm saying it like I'm an adolescent. I wish I was again. So many things I would change. Anyway, it's, it's very sad. And, then you hold this grief for years and years, and it doesn't go away. I mean, you have better moments. I mean, look at me. I'm like trying not to bibble babble. You have better moments, but it doesn't go away. And so anybody who tells you oh, your grief will be healed. Oh, everything's going to get better. Life moves on. Life is life. It's going to give you your ups, your downs. It has a cyclical flow. It's not going to be a straight, steady line going up. Oh, everything's going to get better. You just have to know that. Anybody who's going through grief, you could see them one day, and especially children, and you could see them playing and be like, oh, they're fine. Everything's fine. And then next day, they're going to be completely broken. You have to take that into consideration. Even if it's years later, they hold on to that because they don't know what else to do with it. And if you aren't there guiding them as their parents, as their friends, as their grandparents, uncles, cousins, whatever, anybody in their life, if you don't know how to deal with that, then you're not going to be able to fully, to the best of your capabilities, help them. Not saying that you're not helping, but sometimes they need more than what you can offer. Again, as I say in all my videos, if you are struggling with something and you really, really do need help, I do recommend very highly. It is very important to get yourself help. Self-care, self-love, those are very, very important during grief. Throughout your whole life, really, but definitely during grief. Don't ever forget, you've got to eat, you've got to drink water, you've got to try to sleep, you've got to do these things. It may not be like 8 hours full of sleep, but at least something. It may not be a 4-course meal, but a couple bites of something, like a small salad or, something. And definitely drinking water. It's super, super important that we help each other out, especially our adolescents, especially our children, help to guide them and let them understand that grief is not bad, that grief isn't wrong, that it's a way of life, and it's just something that we have to do. And it's unfortunate, but with death also comes life. So, like I said, it's cyclical universe, and that's really all I wanted to share with you guys. I'm sorry that took so long. I hope my story helps anybody who's going through things like that, or who knows an adolescent or a teenager who may have lost somebody that they love. No, everybody's different. I just seem to be, my mom was really good at coping with things, or at least hiding her feelings. So I've inherited that. So yay me. But just because I can cover it up doesn't mean that it's not there. So just keep that in mind, especially for people who do say that they're fine, especially teenagers. And it looks like my video's like, hey, it's time to stop because the light's dimming. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you. Love and light to all of my beautiful lightlings out there. I wish the best for you, and thank you for watching.